So back in 2011, I had an awakening experience. It all started when I went on a bachelor party with some friends in Ibiza, which is the party island off the coast of Spain. So it was in Ibiza. It was a bachelor party with some of my friends. Hey, this is my daughter Satori. Hey Satori, you haven't heard this. You haven't heard this story either. So when I went on a bachelor party with my friends, there was only four of us there, and we just arrived. One of my friends' bachelor's party. We decided to mainly just walk around the island, smoking weed, to be honest, and relax. I think we went to one of the nightclubs and then quickly decided that we couldn't be bothered doing any more. We just wanted to walk around, relax, talk, catch up. Now my friends, two of them were like 10 years older than me, and one of them was a year or so older than me. And when we was on the trip, they got into the conversation of conditioning, mental conditioning. So at the time, I would have been about 25 or 26. And I had never thought about mental conditioning before ever in my life. So they just brought up the conversation. I was like, hey, what do you think you've been conditioned to believe in? And I was like, what? They're like, well, clearly you was raised by your parents. They condition you to believe some certain things. I was like, okay. And then they went, when you was in school, you got conditioned with certain things, a place where you live. You grew up in Manchester, England. You've been conditioned to think certain things in Manchester, England. Got Western education. That's conditioned you to think a certain way. I actually grew up in a Catholic church, and that conditioned me to be a certain way. So many things that condition me and you, right? Where you live, I speak English language, that's conditioning. Okay, being very different. If I grew up in a place like Afghanistan, a lot of my beliefs would be different, my language would be different, church I grew up in would be different. These conversations blew my mind. I had never thought about how I'd been conditioned to think or what I've been conditioned to believe before. First time I ever thought about this stuff. So I was a little bit freaked out. I was like, okay, yeah, I guess I have been conditioned to think a certain way, because if we lived in Afghanistan, I would think differently. So going around having these conversations about conditioning, just enjoying ourselves, relax. And it started to dawn on me that a lot of my actions and behaviors was down to my thinking. And if the majority of my thinking, if not all of my thinking, has been down to conditioning, what do I really believe myself? Without the conditioning, what do I believe in? So this was very, very troubling for me, because at a point in my life, I was very, very status driven. I wanted Porsche, I wanted nice watches. That was like literally the main focus in my life. I had given up on religion or spirituality many years before that. I was an atheist at the time. I was happy, I thought I was happy with all of that. It was fine, life was going good. But this was very troubling, that I realized that my thoughts, which drove my behavior, had been mostly conditioned. So I went back to London, where I was living at the time. I was getting on with my life, and for about 2 weeks, everything that crossed my mind, every single thought that crossed my mind, I asked myself, is this really what I believe in? Or is this what I've been conditioned to think? And what was difficult is that pretty much everything that I thought, I could link to some type of conditioning. Whether I was like, how much money I wanted. Okay, did I really think that, or has that been conditioning? Well, it's been conditioned through capitalism in some way. It's been conditioned on like what my mum and dad thought was how much I should earn, and what my friends had thought. Okay, so it's conditioning. All right. So many things. So this was just going on personally. I didn't share it with anybody. I was just getting on with my life, thinking about it. And it was getting quite troubling. Then one day, I was about to go to sleep. It was a Sunday evening. I was about to go to sleep, and I remembered that I had some homework to do. No, I wasn't in school, but I did have a mentor at the time. The mentor, he was called Steve Jack. He's changed his name now, I think, to like Christoph Malachi. I'm not sure exactly what he's changed his name to. By the time, he was called Steve Jack, and he was a fitness business mentor. I hired him to help me with branding because at the time in London, I was a personal trainer, I was a fitness model and health coach, and I needed some help with some branding. I might as well share the story about how I found this guy because that's interesting in itself. So I went to, a few months before that, I went to a conference. It's called FitPro in the UK. Fitness professional conference. I went there, I like to, stay educated on top of things. So I went to FitPro. I walked in late, I think. I missed a couple of sessions. And I saw this guy in, the lobby room when you walk in. I just got there. I had my, the flyer that told you when the schedule and everything. I just got there. And I saw this guy. He looked like he just exited a room as a speaker. And there was just something about this guy. He was like the first person I saw, and there was just something about him. So I walked up to him and I said, "Hey, I assume you're a speaker. I just saw you walk out. My name's Mark. Nice to meet you. And to be honest, I just want to speak to you because there's some type of aura about you. There was something just attracting me to this guy. I don't know what it was. Some like energetic thing. I don't know. So I just asked him, like, what was you talking about? He's like, "Oh, thank you." Bizarrely, he said, "I do a lot of work on that." And I was like, "What?" He said, "The energy stuff." I was like, "Okay." I was not into anything spiritual at all. I was complete atheist. I just was attracted over to this guy. So I was like, "Okay, well, what were you talking about?" It's like, "Oh, well, fitness, how to brand yourself in the fitness industry. That's what I was talking about, And I was like, "All right, well, what are you selling? Because everybody's selling something at these events. So what is it you're selling?" And he said, "Oh, I've got this one-day event in London, Chelsea, London. And it's a one-day seminar on how to brand yourself in the fitness industry." So I was like, "Okay, I don't know anything about you. I'm not necessarily looking for any branding stuff, but you seem an interesting guy, so I'll do it." So I just paid for it there and then and saw him a couple of weeks later. I went to Chelsea to the event, the seminar, and I sat there as he was teaching. There was a room about 30 of us, all fitness professionals. I sat there, and as he was talking and he was teaching this fitness branding, I kept thinking to myself as he was talking, I was looking around, I was like, okay, this guy's definitely talking about branding right now, but there's something else going on. He's talking about something else, something deeper, and I don't know what it is. And I was looking around, I was speaking to the other guys, like, "What? This guy, he's talking about fitness, right? But there's something else he's talking about, right? I don't know, there's something else going on with this guy." And everybody else was like, "Nah, I don't know what you're talking about, mate. He's just telling us about fitness branding." I was like, "Okay." But I don't know, there's something about this guy I just could not put my finger on. Anyhow, at the end of that event, he had an upsell. He was selling a 8-week mentorship or 12-week mentorship, and I don't know, there's something about this guy I just felt like I should just keep doing whatever he's teaching. So I signed up for that. Fast forward, this is why I had the homework, because I was part of his mentorship, his brand building mentorship. So I was about to go to bed and I realized, oh man, I haven't done the homework for that mentorship. I get up, I go sit down on the dining table. At the time I was living in a place called Balham, which is near Clapham in London. And I think I had 3 or 4 housemates at the time in this little flat in Balham. They were all sleeping. I sat down, pulled up my laptop, pulled up the homework, and the homework said, "What do you believe in?" So this is Steve Jack's homework. He said, what do you believe in? The reason is if you're going to have a brand, you need to be able to communicate what you believe in. So I asked myself, all right, what do I believe in? And I just started to laugh. That's okay. Bees are our friends. Bees are our friends. They make all the food. Indirectly, well, directly. They pollinate the plants, and then the plants can make our food. So he says you need to know what you believe in so that you can communicate that through your branding. So I'm sat down looking at it, and I just started to laugh. I was like, wow, well, if you'd have asked me 2 weeks ago before this trip to Ibiza, I'd be able to tell you everything I believe in, no problem, easily. However, after realizing that everything I believe in is pretty much conditioning, I don't know what I believe in anymore. I actually don't know what Mark Dharma, and at the time I wasn't called Mark Dharma, I was called Mark Anthony Hughes, and that's another video, I'll tell you that another time. But I was like, Mark Anthony Hughes, I don't know what I believe in. I don't know what I believe in. All I know is what I've been conditioned to believe in. I don't know what I personally believe in. So I'm looking at this question, scratching my head, and I'm like talking to myself. I'm talking to myself, looking at it. I'm like, all right, let's start from the beginning. Like, what do you know to be true? So, like, what do I know to be true? Well, I know that there's something here, something in my chest, around here, that has been pushing me to be a more moral person, to be better, to be nicer, to be more moral, just a better person for a few years. Because I didn't used to be such a good person. I used to do a lot of things that I am not proud of. Used to be involved in many things, drug dealing, all types of stuff. I've made many mistakes. I've treated women terribly in the past. I've done a lot of things. I was a violent, aggressive young man in the past. And there was something pushing me to put all that aside and stop being like that and to be a better human being. And I felt it was something in here. I didn't know what it was. So I said, there's one thing that I believe in and I know is true. Oh, my daughter's found some trash. Thank you, sweetheart. Can you let's put it in the trash. There's probably one over there, darling, near the toilet, or in the toilet. There's one thing I know to be true. Let's call it a conscience. It's been pushing me to be a more moral person. This conscience. Alright. That's one thing I know for sure. Okay, well, what the hell is this conscience? What is it? So I looked up to the roof. I was just sat in this dingy old flat, and I asked myself, well, what is all this about? I was atheist at the time. What is all this about? So I looked up to the sky, to the roof. I was like, I just want to know the truth. I realized I don't know anything. I don't know who I am. I don't know what this world is about. I don't know what life is about. I don't know what I believe in. I don't know what this thing conscience is. I don't know anything at all. I just want to know the truth. And I was serious. I just want to know the truth. What is it? Whatever it is, just tell me the truth. I'm ready. Whatever this is. I want to know what this life is about. Tell me the truth. It felt like a lightning bolt just came down the top of my head. I went, because I was scared. Fear instantly came and kind of shut it off. It was as if there was high frequency energy coming straight down through the top of my head. I now know this to be called the crown chakra, the top of your head. It was if high frequency energy was coming down, and with it came knowledge, and also like a feeling, a knowing. It lasted maybe a split second, and it felt like it could have gone a lot longer, but the ego shut it off. It was too scared. Fear shut it off. Alright, darling, hold on. I'll help you in a second. So, as soon as that fear shut off, then I just felt an overwhelming peace and knowing. And I'll just share what the knowledge was, and then I'll share the feeling that came. Sweet, I'm doing this video. Let me finish this video. And then we'll put it away, alright? Okay, 5 more minutes. So, the knowledge was that we're all one. That everything, the living beings, the inanimate objects, everything is made of pure energy. It's a rock. Everything is made of pure energy. And that pure energy is also known as God. When we're all that one energy, it is everything. It's all the manifest, it's everything. And we are all of that. We are one with that. And then I had this knowledge that came through, that human beings are much more than what we think we are. We are gods. We are one with gods. We are gods. We have abilities. We have psychic abilities. We have many abilities that we don't even realize we have, just because we don't train them, we don't practice them. And also because we think we're less. We think we're just like an animal. But we're more than that. So that's what came with the knowledge. Also came that this is what other prophets have tried to say. That we're all one, we're all connected, we are all God, we're all part of that energetic field, if you like. This is what Jesus was saying in certain words, in a certain tongue, in a certain way, Buddha in a certain way. There's been many prophets have been saying this in different tongues to their different people, in ways that they can understand, that their people can understand. I then had zero fear of death at all, no fear of death. And I didn't, all of a sudden, Mark disappeared. The person who was Mark disappeared. I just felt one. I need to go potty, darling. Okay, this is the restroom over here. Alright. I'm gonna come with you, okay? We'll open it. I looked outside and saw the tree outside, the same tree that's just outside my my apartment window all the time. I saw the tree, but when I looked at it, I did not see a tree. I saw myself. I saw myself, and myself being the whole universe, the whole everything, the infinite. There was no distinguishment between a tree, between Mark, between the infinite. It's all one. And I started to cry, tears of joy of how beautiful this thing that we call a tree, that it's not a tree, we just call it a tree, so it is what it is. I started crying at the beauty of it, and started crying at the beauty of myself, which is the infinite, which is everything. And I just felt so much love and compassion and joy just to be alive and to witness this manifestation of God, life itself. Well, that's locked. And there you go, darling. Yeah, I'll wait here, alright? I felt energized at the same time. I felt love, unconditional love for everyone and everything. I didn't see a separation between me and anyone or anything. And then I fell asleep and I woke up and it was still there. Mark was gone. There was no Mark. There was just oneness with everyone. I could see everything with new eyes, fresh eyes. Everyone looked beautiful. Everyone looked like an emanation of the divine, the infinite. So I was trying to get on with my day. I had heightened awareness, heightened sensitivities. So food that had any type of sweeteners, chemicals, artificial flavorings, I just couldn't taste it. It tasted disgusting. I used to wear deodorant. I couldn't spray it. It just smelled disgusting. Any type of artificially made substance was just disgusting. I just couldn't have it anywhere near me. My phone, before my phone rang, like a couple of seconds before, you know, if you put your phone next to a radio, or it used to happen with radios, I don't know about now, but a couple of seconds before the phone rings, the radio would get a bit of interference and the phone would ring. If the phone was anywhere near my head, a couple of seconds before it would ring, I'd get a very severe headache and feel like interference in my head, and then the phone would ring. I also could not put the phone next to my ear. If I put the phone next to my ear, I would have an extremely bad headache, very painful headache. So much so that I even went to the doctors. I got a brain scan just to check up, see if everything was okay. And I believe I just became very sensitive to things. I think my awareness just got heightened. The taste, smell, sounds, the pollution in London, which I never even noticed before, really bothered me. I just became so aware of it. My awareness was raised. I was in love with everybody. I started to change my behaviors. Like, I stopped eating meat at the time to be, I became a vegan. To be fully transparent, I'm currently eating meat, but I'm really looking to reduce that now and get on a more plant-based diet. You know, these ATVs. Okay, you wash your hands.
No, there's no sink in there.
There's nowhere to wash your hands. Okay, we'll go and wash. I got some sanitizer in the car, okay?
I can wash it with a little bit of water.
Is there water in there? Yeah, go wash your hands then.
No.
There's none? Okay. So it lasted about 3 or 4 days. So yeah, I became vegan, it just seems stupid to cause suffering on any other living being when it just seemed like I was causing suffering to myself because I was one with everything. So it was like, why would I cause suffering on any other living being? Because I'm causing suffering on myself. It was very obvious to me. It was very palpable. When people called my name Mark, it was funny. I found it funny because I knew I wasn't Mark. I was one with everybody. I was one with everything. The infinite. Yes, sweet, sweet.
There's just 2 trash cans and no toilet.
2 trash cans and no toilet.
But I did go to the potty.
Okay. Let's go wash your hands. So every day I woke up, I went to sleep, I woke up. I noticed my ego was there a little bit more. I remember thinking, going to sleep, waking up, I'm thinking, oh, Mark's back. More of Mark is back today. And every time Mark came back in a little bit, there was more fear. Until on day 4, day 4 or 5, I woke up and that awareness had gone. It had all gone. It was back to Mark. Mark was fully in control, and that was fear. I was scared. I woke up full of fear. My friends who I was living with wanted me to move out, saying you're not the same guy anymore, like you're weird, you've changed, like I don't know what's going on with you. And I was like, have I gone crazy? Did I lose my mind or something? But I knew it was the truth. I knew those 4 days, 3 or 4 days was the truth. I knew it was the truth. So I spent the next 3 months reading up on spirituality because it's something I wasn't interested in before. Reading up about different religions. Here you go, darling. Just put a little bit of that on your hand. Actually, I'll pour it for you. Okay, I'll give you quite a lot there, yeah. Yep. So I started reading up in different religions. I saw a lot, like Hinduism, Buddhism, Christianity, Islamic faith. I could see a lot of parallels between my experience and what I was reading. And after 3 months I actually Googled it as well. That was one of the first things I did. I Googled like what the hell happened to me, and Googled kind of what I experienced, and quite a lot came up. It was all like spiritual enlightenment, spiritual awakening, Satori experience, which is what I actually call my daughter, Satori. Quite a lot came up. So I stayed up reading for about 3 months until my health was a bit of a mess. I just wasn't sleeping. I was just reading, trying to understand. And after a while, I realized that I may never understand what had happened to me. I just got to take those lessons and, I know it was the truth and see what comes up from there. And then since then, that was good. Over 10 years ago now, or about 10 years, maybe a bit longer. Since then, a lot has changed for me, and I've learned a lot more, and I've had a lot more experiences, and that really started my journey into spirituality and learning more about these things. And that's when that experience made me no longer an atheist, because I had an experience that there's much more to this. So that's it. So if you want to hear more, if you want to learn about spiritual tools that you can use so you can be free of suffering, anger, hate, upset, frustration, anxiety, hurt, worry, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, fear, subscribe to my channel, because that's where I share the tools that I've learned over the last 10 years to be free of all that stuff. Hypnotherapy, breathing exercises, meditations, NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, energy exercises, and more things that work to be free, so you too can experience more joy, more peace, more love in your life. I'd love to know if you've had a similar experience too, or know someone who has. Put it in the comments below. I want to hear. I've only spoken to a few people about this, and I've met a few people that have had similar experiences actually. I've actually got a friend of mine and a mentor who he had a similar experience for a day or two, and then 10 years later had another moment like that lasted for, forever, still lasting. And he said when it happened, he knew it was for good. So please share, put in your questions, comments. I'd love to hear. All right, see you in the next one.